Hey guys, Nova here. Just wanted to reach out to the newer players here. I know some of us have been playing and enjoying Path of Exile 2's early access for about a week almost, and we're having a great time. But I know there are probably still people who haven't quite dipped their toes in yet. Maybe they're waffling about whether or not they want to play it. I just want to kind of to make a video because Grinding Gear Games has really executed on a vision that I think is worth people experiencing. Unfortunately, it does leave a bit of a difficulty curve that some people may be a bit hesitant to try to tackle on their own. So I wanted to put together just a little quick, helpful video to try to encourage folks to face their fears, so to speak, and jump into this exceptionally good game and hopefully share this experience with all of us. So without much further ado, let's jump into this. I've got a list of 15 things that I think every new Path of Exile 2 player should know. Don't be afraid to look up a build, and don't be stubborn like me. Now, I'm not saying that you can't experiment, and if that's what you do to get enjoyment out of a game, by all means do it. Just hear me out. Understand that while most things in this game can be respec'd without too much difficulty, they can get very expensive. It may be in your best interest to just use that pre-proven build for your first character to kind of get yourself to endgame, farm some resources, get to the point where you can experiment more comfortably, and then you can make additional characters after that to play through the game with, making your own test builds, seeing what you enjoy. Don't make no mistake, I find that to be extremely fun. I really like working on your own builds. I'm just letting you know that if you're determined to do that for your first character, it's going to be an uphill battle. Try to keep your weapon updated. I'm jumping a little bit out of order here. I probably should have put this further down the list, but it's important enough that I want to mention it early so that people don't skip it. Depending on your build, sometimes it will be better to simply buy a white quality weapon, upgrade it to maybe just a magic item, and replace even the rare that you might already have if the damage numbers are higher. Now, not for everyone. A witch that never uses any direct attacks, maybe this won't matter too much, but if you're playing a monk, for example, you might find that the difference between slamming your head against a boss for 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 attempts and destroying it effortlessly is literally just that, buying a new weapon and upgrading your damage numbers. So don't be afraid of losing your precious rare. You can always stash it. You can always, well, we'll talk about what you can do with it actually coming up soon. Let's move right on. You can stash items for alt characters, including uncut and cut skill gems. So you will find throughout your journey skill gems that will allow you to unlock abilities. You can put these either both before and after you cut the gems to have a specific skill associated with it. You can put those in your stash or your guild stash, so other people will be able to use them. If you find yourself getting tons and tons of drops for tier 1 skill gems, consider putting them in your stash so that when you roll an alt, you'll just have all of your skills available for you. Now, you might not find, you may think I'm crazy early on. You won't find a ton of skill gems early on, but once you get towards the end game, you will have probably more than you know what to do with. So it's good to know that you can just stash them and use them for alts. Loot quality. I'm just going to lay this out now because it's going to be easy to refer back to for the next couple points. There are 4 rarities for loot. You got your white loot, which is just normal, your blue loot, which is magic, the yellow is rare, and the orange is unique. And that's it. That's in that order. That's the loot rarity. Disenchanting, salvaging, and selling. Once you reach around the end of Act 1, you will find that in addition to your stash, you'll have 4 options. Sorry, with your stash, you'll have 4 options with what to do with your loot. The game doesn't do the best job of explaining it. It's not terribly difficult to figure out, but I'm just going to line it out here for the new players to make it very simple. You will have salvaging, which is actually the last thing you will unlock. And salvaging is what you're going to want to do when you have loot that has sockets or runes on it. You salvage those because they will give you fragments that are arguably the rarest of the stuff you get from disenchanting and salvaging, etc. And you're going to want a lot of those. So start with a salvage. Salvage anything that has a socket or a rune. Then you'll go ahead and disenchant anything that is magic or rare or unique if you really don't want to collect them. And then finally, the rest of it, you will sell. This is obviously all excluding what you want to put in your stash for other people or other characters. Everything that's left over after all of that, just sell it for gold. The gold is useful. You will get plenty of ways to spend gold. So orbs in this game are what you use to craft gear. The term crafting is the term that is used, despite the fact that it's a little confusing for new players, because you are not making the gear out of nothing. You're taking a white rarity piece of loot and turning it into magic or rare, what have you, using these orbs, and you're also changing which stats and which affixes are on it. So the orbs, that's their core game function. However, the rarer orbs, like exalted orbs as an example, are often used as currency for trading between players. So do not hesitate to hold on to these orbs if you don't have any piece of gear that you think would be great to use them on, because you may end up finding someone down the line in trade chat who has something close to what you're looking for and they're willing to trade. So don't be afraid to hold on to your orbs to use them for trading with other players. Gear is not bound. This may be very, very obvious to some people, depending on what genre you're coming from. I played a lot of MMOs back in the day, so this was a little bit of a stretch for me to wrap my head around. When you're done with a piece of gear, whether it's unique or rare, you don't have to just sell it to a vendor or hold it in your stash for ever. You can put it in your stash, but they can be used on other characters. You can put it in your guild stash for other people in your guild to use. You can disenchant them. You can also trade them to other players. So just keep in mind that gear is not just like once you're done using it, you sell it to a vendor for nothing. Uniques are fixed. This is another one that really just saves people like kind of experimentation and a Google search. When you get a unique, the affixes on it are invariable. It's just how strong they are. So you'll have two uniques that one is better than the other, but it's usually just because the numbers are higher. So that's just something to keep in mind. Loot filters. I actually strongly recommend you pick up the loot filter that I'm going to link in the description below this video. It doesn't hide anything. It just highlights when good things drop. Loot filters are very powerful, and as you become more experienced with the game, you'll want to probably tailor your filters more specifically to you or your class. But for now, it's good to get used to them, and it's very easy to install. You'll just download a zip file, extract one of the files from within it, and put it in a specific location. And that's it. That's it. You have to go in game to the options to turn it on, but all of this is going to be outlined in the link that I'm going to put in the description below. Check it out. I highly recommend it. About halfway through Act 1, you're going to unlock the hooded figure, who will basically make scrolls of wisdom not matter anymore. Mine are just sitting in my stash because I haven't bothered to like sell them or anything. But it is worth mentioning, if you do want to sell them, a single scroll sells for 2 gold. A stack of 40 scrolls sells for 2 gold currently. I don't know if this is a bug or what, but just keep that in mind. You can get the most amount of money if you split them all into stacks of 1 and sell them, which is why mine are all just sitting in my stash. It's not really worth the effort, in my opinion. The hooded man, as I mentioned before, you can go up to him and have him identify your items, but instead of clicking on him and then clicking on identify, you can actually just control and click on him, and it will automatically identify, and then you can just start moving. You don't even have to like exit out of his dialogue or anything. It saves you a lot of time. It's something you're going to do so many times that eventually it will kind of add up. It's worth mentioning. When you use an uncut support gem, it's going to bring up a menu that will show you all of your skills on the left-hand side, and each skill, when you click on it, you will see 3 skills per tier. Now, these are their recommended skills, and they're good, and you can pick any of them, and it's great. But it is worth mentioning that you can uncheck at the bottom of this window, show recommended skills only, and it will show you all of the support skills. And for a lot of the builds you look up online, you will have to do that because they use non-recommended support skills. So there's a lot of variety, like I mentioned in Path of Exile 2. It's definitely worth checking this out. This has been a controversial feature for Path of Exile 2, so it's good not to go in blind. You can be body blocked and killed by enemies. They can surround you, pin you against the wall, and really screw you, and you'll be dead. Players can also body block you. Now, obviously, you're usually not going to be playing with so many other people that they alone will body block you, but it's worth mentioning that in some caves, your best buddy, who's right behind you, may block your exit, and then you'll be pinned between your friend, who is maybe a mercenary who isn't paying attention and doesn't realize you're trying to run away, and 15 little enemies that are pinning you down. They did hotfix it so that it's a little bit more forgiving. There are a couple more ways you can play around it, but it is still something that is 150% definitely going to kill you at least once. So just keep that in mind. I'm really just bringing this up to avoid a panic. When you buy a microtransaction, like a cosmetic, it's locked to one character at a time. It's not per character. You don't have to buy multiple of them. But when you open up the menu, you will see like in use, and you might be like, oh no, what's going on? Like, did I just spend money on something that's just for this one character that I don't even know if I like? No, you can reclaim it. You can move it around. You can do that as much as you want. It's free. It doesn't matter. Just wanted to put that out there because some people might, when I first did it on PoE 1, it freaked me out. So just a heads up. And finally, number 15, you will die. You're gonna die. The game is difficult. It's not insurmountable. It's not impossible. I don't even really think it's unfair, other than arguably sometimes with the body blocking. But you know, whatever. I think the game is a very good challenge. I think it's very fair. It's very fun. But you're gonna die. Sometimes your build is gonna feel like paper mache, and then the very next boss fight, it could be you could feel like a god, and it could be as simple as changing out one piece of gear. It could be as simple as your build style really wrecks one boss but is really weak against another boss. You know, your friend could have an easy time with one boss and you could have a really difficult time with that same boss. Just be prepared. Don't be afraid to tinker. Don't be afraid to, you know, look up advice online, and just keep trying. You'll get through it. And that's it. That's it, guys. 15 things that I think a new Path of Exile 2 player should know before they get in. Hopefully you've learned something new from this video. If you have, give me a like, leave a comment. I'd really appreciate it. If you haven't learned anything, go ahead out of the comment section. Tell me I'm a big dumb idiot. Leave a comment telling me what I should maybe have put in here instead. Maybe you can teach me something I don't know. Anyway, guys, hope I helped. If not, I'm sorry. But feel free to check me out on Twitch. I'd like to be as personable and fun as I can. You know, just hang out. And thanks, guys. See ya.